Bill Bullock, and I'm coming to you live from the Biblical Lifestyle Center in Texarkana, USA. It's a beautiful day here, and we ask you to let us know where you're from and what's going on where you live. Drop your name, drop your location, and then generally speaking, anything you'd like to speak, a prayer request, a praise report, a comment, a question, anything you might have. We'd be happy to get back with you as soon as we can. This is the Parsha today that we're studying. The Parsha is called Miketz. It's a Hebrew word. Obviously, it comes from the verb katzatz, which means to have a cutting off point. The cutting off point can be causing an end to something, or it can be causing a beginning of something, or in most situations, it's a little bit of both. Something is ending, but something else is beginning. The Parsha is Miketz, and we're going to talk about what happens at the breaking point, where something ends, but something else really, really, really kicks in and begins. Genesis 41, verse 1 through 44:17 is our address for our studies. And so we'll be taking it a little bit at a time. We'll go through some of these things. I'll give you my title or subtitle for this Parsha. And it's this study today is, this world does not just need a hero. It really needs a Hebrew. The world doesn't just need a hero. It needs a Hebrew. Not just any Hebrew, though. A Hebrew like the one we're going to meet in today's studies, the one we're going to read about in the Parsha. Yosef, the one who is the image and the prototype and the example and the model of what a real Hebrew looks like. A Mashiach figure looks like. One who is not arrogant, not proud, not caught up in all sorts of little arguments and dramas and documentations about some little nuance of theology or geography or namology. No, but who is focused upon the end game plan of the creator of the universe, focused upon mission, upon purpose, upon destiny. Yes, what the world needs is not just a hero. We've had so many of those, and they've always died or failed. What the world needs today is a true Hebrew. Right, let's get to the study. We've already had some discussions in our past weeks of our Torah study together of the Messiah prototype. Yosef is not just a good Hebrew. He is the prototype, the example of the coming Messiah. And so the first time we met Yosef was last week in great measure. We get to get introduced to him. I call it his first coming, his first appearance, his first mandate. Last week in Parsha Vayeshev, Yosef burst onto the scene. And he was well loved by his father. He was blessed and honored by his father. Oh, but his brethren did not accept him. This is the first coming experience of the Messiah. He will be rejected, hated, attacked, slandered, abused, and left for dead. And that's the concept of the first coming. But that's not the end. That's not the end of the Messiah prototype. That will not be the end for Yosef. And that will not be the end for the Messiah. The secret passage of today's Parsha, at least as I see it, is found a couple of places, but let's just focus on Genesis 41:33, the first chapter of Parsha Miketz. And it will get some context for it for a moment, but it's in the courts of Pharaoh. It's being spoken. And Yosef has come out of prison. He'd been brought out of prison by virtue of the word of the cupbearer we met in last week's discussions. Pharaoh's cupbearer had been put in prison. Yosef was given the opportunity to interpret a dream he had, and he has now been returned to his position as the cupbearer to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh has had some dreams, some prophetic dreams, and they have frightened him. What he sees in the dreams frightens him. We'll maybe talk more about that in a few moments as to why it might frighten him and why it should frighten anybody who is trying to lead a country or or lead a family or lead a household. But nevertheless, the frightening dreams have caused Pharaoh to look for someone to interpret the dreams. And of course, the cupbearer says, "Yes, of course. I know. I remember now. I had a dream when I was unfortunately, in prison, and he told me exactly what was going to happen, and it happened exactly as the young man said. He commends Joseph to Pharaoh. Pharaoh calls Joseph out of the prison, and tells him what his dreams were. Joseph tells him what the dreams mean, and then he says at the end, Joseph says, "Now therefore." He gives Pharaoh some advice. "Now therefore let Pharaoh select an understanding and wise man," a man with the spirit of wisdom and understanding. We'll read it later. "Let Pharaoh select an understanding and a wise man, and set him over the land of Egypt." The secret of finding this wise and understanding man. Understanding and wise and understanding. There's wisdom about him, and there's a sense of being able to put it all together to make sense. The understanding part, wisdom and the understanding, chokmah in Hebrew and binah in the Hebrew, these combination of factors, yes, they determine you don't just need a hero. You need a Hebrew. So this is what we're going to find in this portrait of the latter days, in this great imagery that's being drawn for us, the model of the tribulation and the times to come, and of the rising of the Messiah. We're going to see that what we're going to be looking for desperately is an understanding and a wise man, a man with the spirit of wisdom and understanding. In our parsha, in our discussions today, in the times in which we are living out of the Torah, it is Yosef. But look beyond Yosef, beloved, to the Messiah, to the one who's truly wise and understanding of the Hebrews. All right, let's see if we can get moving on. I want you to understand this connection between Pharaoh and the beast of the latter days, and between Joseph and the Messiah of the latter days. So, after Joseph made his statement about Pharaoh set a man who is wise and understanding over the land, over the crops, over the harvest, to prepare for what's coming, Pharaoh said to his servants, "Hanimsa kazeh, how can we find such a one as this? Ish asher ruach Elohim bo, in whom the spirit of the Holy One, the spirit of Elohim flows. Ein nabin v'chachim, there is none understanding and is wise." Well, now we have the secret of Joseph and the secret of Mashiach. I want you to imagine a season. Whether it's Joseph's 7 years of plenty, then 7 years of famine, that we read about it in today's parsha. Imagine a season of 7 years for Messiah, or 1,000 years for Mashiach. A season in which a wise and discerning man who walks humbly with the Creator of the universe. Remember, I said humbly, not proudly, not arrogantly, not rudely. A 7-year period or 1,000-year period, whichever you wish to look at, in which a wise and discerning man who walks humbly with the Creator of the universe and walks in his priorities, the holy ones that is, and walks in his will and walks in his ways, taps into the Genesis 1:11, third day of creation week blessing over the earth. Remember what that was? On the third day of creation, the Holy One spoke, Elohim spoke, and he spoke this blessing and said, "May the earth bring forth fruit, plants in which is their seed, and grasses in which is their seed, herbs in which is their seed. May they reproduce." Okay, so imagine that a wise and discerning man in a 7-year period like Joseph's, or a 1,000-year period like Mashiach's, who walks humbly with the Creator of the universe and prioritizes his will and his ways, somehow taps into this eternal river of flow of this blessing. And what would happen on the earth if someone walking the earth, a Hebrew walking the earth with these blessings, tapped into that Genesis 1:11, third day of creation week blessing? Imagine the fruitfulness that would flow. Imagine the heavens and the earth aligning over this Hebrew who is walking in the will and the ways of the Holy One. Imagine the perfect harmony occurring everywhere where the soul of this anointed Lord of the harvest's foot treads, or the sound of his voice carries. Imagine this all coming into alignment and harmony, and the deserts around this person bursting into bloom, coming alive and becoming fruitful. Even the driest, most barren areas suddenly producing bountiful bumper crops multiplied to the fullness of their potential. Now you have the picture of Joseph's first 7 years of fruitfulness, of Mashiach's 1,000 years of reign upon the earth. So how do we begin to tap into this same blessing, into the spirit of wisdom and understanding? Well, we have to disavow certain things that are the opposite of the spirit of wisdom and understanding. The spirit of folly and foolishness and vanity, the spirit of confusion and anger and offense and outrage and tohu vavohu. We have to tap into the spirit of wisdom and understanding. That was in Joseph. Because you see, it's an eternal river that flows. The question is, who will find the river? Who will tap into the river? Who will draw into it? Who will become a humble vessel into which can flow the wisdom and understanding, the blessing of 1:11, the blessings of all of Genesis 1 over the earth creation. Well, I want you to remember Proverbs 3:19. Proverbs 3:19, you probably don't remember it off the top of your head, but here's how it goes. By wisdom, by chokhmah, the Holy One founded the earth. By understanding, by binah, he established the heavens. Oh, the heavens and the earth now. By his knowledge, the depths were broken up and the clouds dropped down the dew. My son, then he changes. The writer of Proverbs, Shlomo, changes now from by wisdom, all these things. He's talking about how this happened. And now he says, my son, let these not depart from your eyes. This is real. This is for today. This is for now. Spirit of wisdom and understanding is an eternal river. My son, let them not depart from your eyes. Keep, treasure, cherish, dig into sound wisdom and discretion, and guard it and protect it. And he says, oh, they will be life to your soul, to your nefesh, to your mind, to your will, to your emotions, to your being. And they will be grace, chen, favor, mercy, kindness upon your neck. By wisdom, the Holy One founded the earth. By understanding, by binah, he established the heavens. And by his knowledge, the depths were broken up and the clouds dropped down the dew. Oh, my son, my daughter, my child, my friend, let not them depart from your eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion, and they will be life to your soul and grace to your neck. Remember also Isaiah 11, verses 2 and following. That's discussing this eternal spirit, this Ruach of the Holy One. Talking about the man of wisdom and understanding. Here we go. The Ruach of the Holy One, the breath, the wind, the Spirit of the Holy One will rest upon him. This Hebrew we're looking for. The Ruach of wisdom, of Chokmah, of understanding, of Binah. The Ruach of counsel, Etzah, and of might, Geborah. The Ruach of knowledge, Da'at, and of Yirat Adonai, the fear, the reverence, the honoring, the awareness of the Holy One. And it says he will reach, this Hebrew we're talking about will reach. He will smell of, he will carry the scent of, he will inhale and exhale Yirat Adonai, the fear of the Holy One. And he will not judge, he will not issue decrees by the sight of his eyes, unlike mankind who looks at only believes what he sees. Nor will he decide, make leadership role decisions by the hearing of his ears. Mankind do the same thing. We focus on the sight of our eyes and the hearing of our ears. And we're moved and manipulated by whatever someone puts in front of us in those regards. He will not make decrees that way. He will not rule or lead that way. But the one who is the Hebrew, the one we're looking for, with balanced scales, with Betzedek, He will judge. He will shafa. He will issue decrees for the good of the poor, the anav, and uv mishor, and with righteousness or straightness, with the level, with plumb, with balance. He will lead. He will go forward and go in the front. Yachak. He will go in the front and lead for the good of the meek, the anav of the earth. This is what we're looking for. The world needs not just a hero, not just a brash spokesman, not just a statesman. The world needs a Hebrew like unto the ones we're talking about. So let's break into it. If we want to tap into the spirit of wisdom and understanding that the Holy One used to create the world, if we want to tap into that, if we want to tap into the understanding, we need to understand what it is we're tapping into. How will we recognize it if we touch it? How will we learn to cast away things that are not like it if we don't even know what it is and what it's not? So let's talk about wisdom. Chokhmah comes from the verb, the Hebrew verb hakam, chet, kaf, and mem sovit. It's alternately translated usually as skill or craftiness. It's not about intelligence. You can be born with a certain level of intelligence. That doesn't mean you ever use it. Intelligence that is empowered by the Holy One. That's what we're talking about, Chokmah. And it comes in the form of actually being able to do something and accomplish something. And not just to be smart, think you know stuff, have book knowledge or word knowledge or even insight, but to be able to put that insight into application and use in ways that make the world a better place to live. Now this is Chokmah, a man of wisdom and understanding. That's what we're looking for. A Hebrew of wisdom and understanding. The Yosef syndrome. The Mashiach ultimate picture. And we are to be images of that. Little tapping into the things that they tap into. So skill, craftiness, being able to make crafts. Cunning, shrewdness, learning, prudence. These are all ways in which Chokmah, the noun called wisdom in English, is translated. But it describes something that goes beyond knowledge or intelligence. It goes to vision, an imagery of how things could be better, how things could be fixed, and a plan then with zeal for the plan to bring it about, and to supply practical, applied artistry, artisanship in ways that bring about a beautiful result. It's not just someone who's smart and has good ideas. It's someone who actually makes the world better by actual application. It's the kind of applied artistry that sees solutions instead of problems. Wisdom never just sees problems and complains or sees blame. Wisdom sees how to fix the problem. Wisdom generates innovations, new outside the box concepts. Sees things down the road and imagines how to make it better. So wisdom overcomes challenges, doesn't succumb to them, doesn't gripe about them, doesn't whine about them. If you hear people doing that, you're not getting the wisdom of understanding, spirit of wisdom and understanding from them. They may be people you love, people you care for, but they're not what you're looking for, and they're not having what they're caught up in is not what you need to be caught up in. Their movements, their anger, their outrage. So wisdom overcomes challenges. Wisdom generates innovations. Wisdom always manages to get things done where the rubber meets the road. A lot of people have a lot of ideas. A lot of people can be sarcastic and sardonic. But who can be a Hebrew? Who can have the spirit of wisdom and understanding? The hakam verb and its nouns involve consistent, patient application of creative energy. Not a one-time thing, I got an idea. No, it's about carrying that idea forward. Creative energy, attention, and then physical skill, all combining to bring about a desired beneficial result. Oh, beloved, if you get a picture of what this spirit of wisdom means, then you will understand Romans 8:28. And the Holy One is working all things together for good, for those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose. This Romans 8:28 outcome of Tov is the idea of Hakam. We are working toward Tov. We will be satisfied with nothing less than Tov. We will not be satisfied with vengeance. We will not be satisfied with reform. We must have Tov. And the skill and the patience and the energy necessary and the attention to detail necessary to bring about the 828 outcome, the Romans 828 outcome. That's what the Messiah will have. That's what we're supposed to tap into, this eternal spirit, this river that flows. It's here, but the voices of the world are drowning it out. So, Chokmah requires, wisdom requires successful, optimal, hopefully, dealings with people. That's both in one-on-one interactions, groups and mobs. If you look at Mashiach, if you look at Yosef, they knew how to handle interactions with people. Each person was different. They didn't have one size-fits-all interactions. Same thing with places, the soil of the place, the terrain of the place, the climate of the place, the view of the place. They had wisdom with regard to how to deal with those things. Of course, the crops, they were lords of the harvest. Seeds, weeds, plagues, storms, and harvests are all part of learning how to make good things happen, make the world a better place. Of course, then there's the things and the tangible objects, the money, the supplies, the tools, how to maximize the use of these things, how to overcome and deal with situations, challenges, and see them as opportunities for bringing about good as opposed to horrible events that we just had to endure unjustly. And then time. Wise people know how to handle time and calendar and sequence according to the Creator's plan and manage time according to the Creator's design. Wise men, the people of Chokmah, know how to handle and channel their energy, their passion, their zeal, not toward vain things, not toward emotional overrides, not towards distractions, but towards the goal, towards the mission. And then wisdom, wise people, the people of wisdom understand how to face and overcome distractions and temptations and irritations. Yes, not to succumb to these things, not to succumb to aggravations or provocations, not just to give in to fatigue, and how to deal with preparing your body to overcome fatigue, and how to deal with biases of the mind and the heart and the culture and the ethnicity, how to deal with them in themselves and in others, how to deal with emotions that are out of control, how to bring them back into divine order for the divine purpose of telling you there's a warning sign here. These emotions are not the good thing. These emotions are telling you that you need to be working toward the good thing. And the same thing with bodily hormones and with instincts. The wise man knows how to deal with all these things and keep life moving forward toward the goal. And we haven't even got to understanding yet. The person is to be a person of wisdom and of understanding. There's a spirit that flows over the earth that we're called upon to tap into of wisdom and understanding. Binah in Hebrew, from the word bain. And bain means intuition, foresight, comprehension. This is usually how it's translated, at least. Comprehension or discernment or understanding. But it involves separating one thing from another. It involves making choices between that which will be good and helpful and bring about Tov, and that which might feel good. It might be something you want to do or feel like is right, but will not bring about the divine purpose. Separating one thing from another according to divine purpose and toward the good that we're working toward. Recognizing, categorizing, prioritizing, characterizing, and organizing things based upon how they function best and how they can best be applied, using not just wisdom, but wisdom and understanding. Now, wisdom. Chokmah must be learned and acquired. It cannot be given to you by genealogy. It cannot come to you by genetics. Chokmah must be learned, must be acquired through walking humbly with and observing and emulating a master of wisdom, a master of Chokmah. Now, that's where you're going to get it. You must hang around someone who is wise. That's why we read the Torah, because the Torah is the epitome of wisdom coming forth in written form that has human feelings and human shape to it. The Torah is this beautiful essence. It's not just a literary book. It's not just a religious book. It has the very essence in it. As you read it over and over again, you begin to tap into the spirit of wisdom and understanding. You acquire it by walking humbly with and observing and emulating a master. The Master, of course, is the Holy One, Elohim, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, El Shaddai. Which name you wish to call him, which title you wish to use for him, is not my issue. Some others have that issue. I don't have that issue. I don't have an issue with foul pronunciations. I want you to tap into the person that we're talking about here, the persona, the master craftsman, the master of wisdom. That's Chokmah. Learn it from him. Walk with him. Walk humbly with him. And therefore you will learn wisdom. Now, what about understanding? Binah, which is understanding, flows out of a watchman's attention to detail, a master craftsman's quest for excellence, and a farmer's patient, farmer's patient, steadfast indistractability. Okay, now we're going to get into Parsha number 10. I call it the Parsha of seeing beyond the veil, gazing in wonder into the next age, and therefore beginning to think outside this age's box, introducing the spirit of wisdom and understanding to your life and to the world. Now, it all starts, as I said, with Miketz, at the end. And end, it may be the wrong word, because it's at the end of something. The end of the era of the patriarchs is coming, but another era is beginning. And usually this happens with a transition, and I call them a season of Pharaoh's dreams. A season of Pharaoh's dreams. Pharaoh's dreams are dreams of paranoia, of fear, of anxiety. As this Pharaoh's dreams, as he had his dreams on this one night, and he began to panic. Dreams that cause you to wake up in a panic. You suddenly wake up and say, the world's not going the way I want it to. The world is careening out of control, it appears. I call them Pharaoh's dreams, paranoia episodes. Some of them are physical dreams at night. Others are just have this overwhelming sense of doom and gloom coming about in the world, and this is what I call Pharaoh's dreams. We will always see the shift in the seasons accompanied by Pharaoh's dreams. Dreams and paranoia episodes, especially in which climate change or population explosions or something like that will be a great a pandemic, a threat of illness, pestilence will be thought to be threatening us all. Well, it could also, I suppose, be aliens, but whatever the source is, there's this overwhelming sense begins to permeate numbers of people in the society, including people who are in roles of leadership, like Pharaoh was, world leadership. And they begin to they can't talk about anything besides this horrible event that's about to take place, the Pharaoh's dream element of paranoia that they experience. Right now, it could be climate change, it could be aliens, it could be war in the Middle East, it could be pandemics and pestilences, whatever the talking heads and whatever the elites are talking about, trying to push down upon you. They're pushing their Pharaoh's dreams. You see, in Pharaoh's dream panic scenarios, the ecosystem is perceived to be careening hopelessly out of control. That's what they're telling you. The sky is falling, Chicken Little would put it. But in these Pharaoh's dream panic scenarios, the ecosystem is seen to be careening helplessly, hopelessly out of control, and rushing headlong toward cataclysm. Oh my goodness, oh my. But the universe is an ecosystem designed by the creator of the universe. It is not careening out of control. This is merely a warning sign, an indicator, a note, a big billboard saying change is coming. But remember, the Holy One is working all things together for good for those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose. So this spirit of wisdom and understanding must be tapped into. We must understand what's happening and why it's happening. So we must learn how to tap into the Spirit, to look through the veil, look beyond the cries and the screams of the climate change fearful people. The aliens are attacking fearful people. The world is careening out of control people. The panic over pestilences and pandemics fear of people. All these, we have to look past all their loud screaming and outrage and fearfulness and warnings. Look through the veil What's happening on the other side? What's happening in the unseen realm? What is the Holy One doing? It's kind of like time traveling, but we're traveling through the space of heaven, from earth to heaven. We cross the threshold of time and space to gaze into the mysteries of the Holy One and his plan for the latter days, for our days leading up to the latter days, for a man to arise, for a Hebrew to come forward when the world thinks it needs a hero. Well, that is where we are at this, as we start this parsha. Wise men understand. Those in whom is the spirit of wisdom and understanding, who have tapped into the Genesis blessings, Genesis 1 blessings. Wise men understand the times and the seasons. And they understand the signs that are associated with each time and each season. Those who walk humbly with the Creator, those who walk and learn his skill from reading the Torah and walking with his Torah as a person, are filled with the spirit of wisdom and understanding, bit by bit as they read, as they study. We are that. That is hopefully who we will be. Hopefully we will become the Hebrew. You too can become the Hebrew that the world needs. You can become the Messiah, but we can become like him. We can become an example of him. We can point people to him by saying, I see something there that looks like what I've always imagined Messiah would be. Well, people who walk humbly with the Creator, people of wisdom and understanding, recognize when there's a fulcrum moment approaching. They recognize it because something's about to change. We're going to have an end, but a new beginning. And that's where we always are. We come to the week 10 in the Parsha studies. We come to the time of Hanukkah, our feast of dedication in the Jewish calendar, the Hebrew calendar. We come to this stage and we realize, we're at a fulcrum moment. We're about to turn our focus toward deliverance. We're about to turn our focus to 100 days from now. 100 days from now will be basically the 100 days to Passover. And we're going to see there's something more coming. We're not through yet. The world's not careening out of control. The Holy One's bringing things to pass in accordance with a great plan of deliverance and a great plan of redemption and restoration for creation, a great plan to rise up a nation, to rise up a people, a Hebrew people who will be the wisdom and understanding fountains that the world needs. Wise men who walk humbly with the Creator and are filled with the spirit of wisdom and of understanding, plan and speak and act and prioritize time and energy and passion and resources in ways that will bring about the plan of the Holy One, will assist the people in his sphere of influence and to transition into the next stage and lay a good foundation for success in the new age, new season, new era or epoch that the Holy One is inaugurating. That's the essence of what we're here for. So, these are the things that will happen. Let's sing the call to worship and we'll have a few moments, then we'll go. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vayed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bakar Banu Mikol Ha'amin, V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Noten HaTorah. Open our eyes, O Holy One, our God, that we may see wondrous things in your Torah, for we are but strangers in this earth. So do not hide your commandments from us. Well, let me just read the opening lines. Vayehi Miketz Shenetehim Yamin, and it came to pass at the cuts, at the breaking point of 2 years of days, Uparo Kolem, and Pharaoh dreamed. Vehene Omed al Hayor, and behold, he stood by the river Nile. V'hinei min ha'ayor, he stole, and out of the river, v'hinei min ha'ayor, and behold, from out of the river, alot sheva parot yafot mare, and ascended 7 handsome, healthy cows. Uviot basar v'tirena and they grazed in the bulrushes of the marsh grass. V'hinei sheva parot akarot alot, and then followed them 7 cows. Akarehem min ha'ayor, and the others that came out of the Nile, but they were ra'ot, mare, v'dachut, basar. They were ugly and they were lean cows. Ooh, and these cows stood next to the other cows that were already on the riverbank. This is the Pharaoh's dream. And then the ugly and lean cows ate up the 7 handsome fat cows. And changes took place. And Pharaoh woke up. And Pharaoh, when he woke up, he fell back to sleep and went back to sleep and dreamed a second time. And suddenly now there were 7 heads of grain in the stream coming up out of the Nile. 1 stalk came up plump and good. 7 stalks came up plump and good. And behold, then there were 7 more that came up afterwards, and they were thin and ugly and blighted by the east wind. They sprang up after them, and the 7 blighted ears devoured the 7 full and well-formed ears. And Pharaoh woke up, and it was a dream, and he was very puzzled and troubled. This was a Pharaoh's dream. Ah, beloved, this is the season of Pharaoh's dreams. You'll hear them on the news. You'll hear them on the internet. You'll hear them in the social media. You'll hear them among your friends. You'll hear them in the churches and the synagogues. You'll hear the Pharaoh's dreams being spoken. It's not that they're false. The problem is, how are you going to deal with them? What is your plan? Tap, beloved, into the spirit of wisdom and understanding. Tap into the eternal river that flows, the river that brings forth the evidences, the scent, the fragrance of the Messiah. Tap into that which will bring about good in the earth, make the world a better place to live. Ah, yes, Pharaoh's dreams are for Pharaoh, but for a Hebrew, it's the spirit of wisdom and understanding. That's all the time I have for our discussions today. Thank you so much. I hope you'll enjoy reading the Parsha. Spend some time with the Master in his Torah. He will teach you the ways of wisdom and understanding. Amen.